Ed and Trace for Friday. Discussing the death of retail. We have with us the CEO of AIS Media, Thomas. It's Harpointner, right, Thomas? I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, Harpointner. It's a little tongue twister.
No problems. So, Tom, I was just talking to my partner exactly what you're talking about. There's a mall right across the street from us. I went in there the other day to look for a pair of shoes. Guy goes, oh, we don't have your size. Let's go over here and look at the computer, blah, blah, blah. Indirectly, he takes me to the website of the shoe company that I'm looking for the shoes from and tells me, oh, you know what, you can order them yourself. And they turned out to be cheaper. Am I proving your point here?
Well, you're probably thinking, why didn't I just go online myself?
That'd be correct, sir.
It's happening more and more. I mean, retail stores are becoming more showrooms than retail stores these days. Last summer when gas prices reached an all-time high, more consumers let their fingers do the walking. They started using the internet and computers to price shop, and many of them haven't returned back to the mall since. So the regular retail sales are literally flat, while online retail continues to grow in double-digit numbers.
Thomas, I'm one of those guys, old school, that I've got to touch and feel the product. I guess I'm definitely in the minority.
Well, there are two types of consumers: those who go to the stores, play with the product, touch it, and then check it out online to make sure they're getting the best deal, and the other consumer that does their research online and then ends up making the purchase at the store. Ultimately, the internet, everyone touches the internet at some point, especially when it comes to a high-ticket purchase these days.
Well, Thomas, think of the money that a retailer can save the overhead with being online.
Well, and consider the fact that how far is a consumer willing to drive to a retail store to find what they're looking for? A retail store has the ability to track consumers from maybe 5, maybe a 20-mile radius tops, but that store that also has an effective web presence can start to sell those products all over the United States. So they're with an effective e-commerce site, they're effectively increasing their footprint nationally, while that retail store is limited to customers in their local neighborhood.
So what's the future of brick and mortar? What's going to happen? Is it going to? You put out two scenarios. Is it going to be the showroom, or is it going to be the place where they look at it online, go there and look at it, buy it, or are they just going to buy it online now and get used to the idea that they're not going to touch the thing?
Well, the future for brick and mortar retailers is that the consumers expect today that every retailer has an effective website. Those retailers that do not have an effective online strategy are going to face fierce competition from City. Circuit City had over $1 billion in online sales, but even that $1 billion wasn't enough to cover the massive overhead of their hundreds and hundreds of retail stores, so they still went out of business. On the flip side, their big competitor Best Buy, who had a much better web strategy early on, they benefited from using the internet not just as a way to drive sales to their retail store, but also to ship products to customers who prefer to stay at home.
Am I always going to sell, Thomas? Sorry for interrupting. Yep. Am I always going to save money by ordering online?
No, absolutely not. Sometimes ordering online doesn't save money, but it certainly gives you the assurance of knowing that you're getting a good deal. The internet serves as a primary point of research for every consumer right now. They start their research online. Ultimately, they may make that purchase locally. Some people prefer to do so. I was at a retail store the other day while somebody was they were price shopping a DVD player on their iPhone while they were in the retail store, and the sales clerk was talking to them. So consumers are using the web to price shop. They may make that purchase locally, but they're going to use the internet to certainly find the best deal. And as our consultants work with these retailers to define their web strategy, we're also helping them recognize that the internet isn't a foe. You're not necessarily losing sales to the web, but that you have to recognize that consumers are using the web to educate themselves. And once they actually walk into the retail store, the average consumer today is a lot more educated than they ever were before. So the retailer that's aware of that can take full advantage of it and know that the consumer may be a lot easier to sell than they were previously because they've already done their research and legwork before they walked through the front door.
Tom, we appreciate you talking to us. Thomas Harpointner from AIS Media, AISmedia.com. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So, yeah, basically what he's saying is that sooner or later you're going to go to a store, they're not going to have a stock. You're going to look at it, touch it, and go, okay, we'll send it to you in 2 days.
You know, I am one of those guys that's like a touchy-feely guy.
I'm telling you. Here on the home of the Red, 700 WLW.
AIS Media is an award-winning multinational interactive marketing company, providing world-class proprietary internet solutions directly and through our global partner network of certified e-business solutions providers.